The two sides presented a warm and cooperative spirit to the media. Then Afghanistan's new government leaders and Secretary of State John Kerry, Secretary of Defense Ashton Carter, and Treasury Secretary Jack Lew entered the storied Camp David retreat. There, officials say, they held intense talks on critical issues in Afghanistan, including security, with Taliban offensives on the rise, and a resilient threat from al-Qaeda fighters. They also addressed Afghan-led reconciliation talks, regional cooperation, and strengthening Afghanistan's economy.
The depth of our discussions today reflect the critical nature of this moment. With Afghanistan's government of national unity now fully responsible for the security of its people and moving ahead on a reform agenda of its own design.
Our determination is to make sure that our people live not just in peace, but with dignity and prosperity.
Kerry said Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, who took office in September, has taken great steps to reach out to the United States, far more than his predecessor, Hamid Karzai, say officials. The Afghan leader has asked President Obama to slow the pace of a planned U.S. troop drawdown from about 10,000 to nearly 5,600 this year. President Obama was expected to discuss the request with Mr. Ghani at a White House meeting.
What we have emphasized and agreed is that we are strategic partners. We are bound by common interests and will act together to ensure both the safety of the United States and the safety of Afghanistan.
White House officials say President Obama is considering the request but remains committed to keeping only a small embassy protection force in the country beyond 2016.
In my mind, it is a big mistake to leave by the end of 2016, irrespective of the pace at which we get to zero over the next 2 years, because that assumes away the threat.
Analyst Michael O'Hanlon says the U.S. needs a presence there to fight terror groups.
Not so much a nation-building effort, not so much just a counterinsurgency, but a partnership in which we keep 2 or 3 operational bases, partly to help Afghanistan with its own internal security, but just as much to help ourselves.
The U.S., meanwhile, announced an $800 million incentive plan for Afghanistan to encourage development and policy reform, and a request for congressional funding to maintain the Afghan forces level at just over 350,000. Secretary Kerry also is expected to travel to Kabul later this year after both sides agreed to restart a bilateral commission focused on new, high-level diplomatic talks. Mary Alice Salinas, VOA News, the State Department.